Welcome to Get Paid for Your Pad, the definitive show on Airbnb hosting, featuring the best advice on how to maximize profits from your Airbnb listing, as well as real-life experiences from Airbnb hosts all over the world. Welcome.
Get paid for your pad. 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 Get paid for your pad.
This episode is brought to you by Hostfully, a company that helps you make beautiful guidebooks for your listing. Make your own at hostfully.com/pad. And as a special for Get Paid for Your Pad listeners, you'll get a free guidebook consultation after you make your guidebook. Episode 210 of Get Paid for Your Pad. Today I am talking to Kamil Damji, and he's the Director of Sales of AirGMS, which is a platform that can help you manage multiple listings. And we're going to talk all about how you can manage multiple listings, tips and tricks, and all sorts of useful info for those who have multiple listings who are looking to expand into multiple listings. So Kamil, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jasper.
How's it going? You're in Vancouver?
That's correct. Our head office is here in North Vancouver, BC.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. What are the most important things when it comes to managing multiple listings?
Well, the most important thing is you're going to make more money. There's a lot of tools out there that will be able to help you. The hardest part, I believe, is cleaning and your guest communications. Those are the two hardest parts when we're talking to hosts that manage multiple properties. And then questions to that regard: how do you handle your cleaners? Are they outsourced? Do they work for you? Is your laundry done on-site or off-site?
Now, when I first started on Airbnb, I was obviously using Airbnb, but I also used another platform called Wimdu.
Okay.
And I think the biggest struggle for me in the beginning was just to make sure that I didn't get any double bookings.
Yes, of course. So if you do have multiple listings, we would suggest to syncing your calendars to avoid double bookings or overlapping dates, and that can be easily done.
And what's the best way to do that?
If you have multiple accounts, you can use a system like ours where we would have a multi-calendar, and this would avoid you having duplicate bookings and overlapping dates. If you're using channels outside of Airbnb, Booking.com, HomeAway, these other channels, we can synchronize and import those calendars to avoid you having those double entries.
Awesome. I would say that's one of the most important parts of making sure that everything goes smooth, right? To make sure that you don't get those double bookings, because it's very tricky if you get a double booking and then you have to cancel it.
Exactly.
Then, you can lose your superhost status because you can argue that it's in the category extenuating circumstances. Because, when you cancel a booking and there's special circumstances like a natural disaster, or there's, you have like bed bugs in your house and you can't really host any guests.
Sure.
Then you don't get any penalties. But I don't think that applies for when you somehow made a mistake with the management of your listings.
Exactly. We know also, Jasper, that 30% of all Airbnb listings are managed by people that have multiple listings. But you should always be careful about additional risks and legalities that may affect you in your specific region.
Are there special rules regarding people with multiple listings in the little places?
Well, every city, every municipality is different. Even specific buildings may have different regulations. And that's why we think it's important to separate your listings into multiple accounts rather than having all your listings in one place. This will definitely minimize your risk and also avoid unwanted attention.
Right. So you're saying if I were to have two Airbnb listings, it would be better for me to have two separate accounts on Airbnb?
Well, I would suggest if you have 5 or more, then it would be wise. Having maybe just 2, you're still okay, and it's still manageable just using their native application. But the more listings you take on, it's wise to separate those into separate accounts rather.
Right. If I want to have 2 accounts on Airbnb, do I need to use 2 different names?
Yes, you would definitely have to have 2 different names. You would have to have 2 different unique phone numbers. You would also want to have, if it's the same property in different accounts, you obviously have to have different photos, different title for your listing, as well as a different payout method, which is also important.
And is that against the Airbnb policy, the regulations of Airbnb, or are you allowed to have multiple accounts?
No, every person is not allowed to have more than one account. If you do have duplicate accounts, I would suggest having the owner of that apartment use their credentials, so that way there's a real person behind every account.
Right, and then you can use the co-hosting option to still manage all the accounts.
Correct. Correct. It's always wise to stay within the confines of Airbnb's terms and conditions, obviously.
Absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. What are some other challenges that people come across, that your clients come across when they manage multiple listings? Let's talk about you're saying the hardest part is the cleaning and guest communications. So the first thing, like, I've never managed like 10, 20, 30 listings. But if I imagine that, the first thing that comes to mind is, do I need to go into all these different places like Booking.com, Airbnb, TripAdvisor to check messages and send messages to guests? Or can I send all the messages in one place?
So there are different channel managers out there. Our system is specifically for people that use Airbnb. Our integration is directly with Airbnb. It's two-way native integration. So any messages that are sent via Airbnb will be sent out via our system, but will show up right through Airbnb itself. If you do have multiple Airbnb accounts, I think the biggest challenge for people that have multiple accounts would be logging in and logging out of multiple accounts just to message your guests. It gets very time consuming very quickly.
What's the best way around that?
The best way around that was to use a system like ours. There's other tools out there, but what AirGMS allows you to do is connect multiple accounts and multiple listings into our system. We then have a unified inbox, so you can easily message guests from a variety of different listings and different accounts.
Interesting. And what about messages on other platforms?
At this moment, we don't support any other platforms outside of Airbnb. What we do have is the ability to import your calendar data, and we can synchronize that. So again, we don't have the double bookings. The limitation that we have is we don't have the messaging capabilities yet. It is in our roadmap and will be something that we should be releasing towards the new year.
Awesome. So you guys are really focused on people who are mainly using
That's
Airbnb.
Correct.
Awesome. What about cleaners?
Cleaners.
And how do you manage that? Is there a tool for that as well?
There's obviously cleaning is a huge part of Airbnb. It takes up a lot of your time. It's really dependent on how you have your cleaners set up. Some of our clients have their own cleaning staff that works for them. Some people outsource their cleaners. Either way, our system is designed to help you. We can invite your cleaners to our system. We can then schedule events based on checkouts. So as soon as somebody checkouts, the cleaners are then notified either via email or text message regarding the clean. They can have all their detailed instructions and know exactly what they have to do before the next guest arrives.
Awesome. So it can help you. It's like a task manager kind of for cleaners,
It's task management. This is also hand in hand with your laundry. Laundry is another big part of Airbnb, especially when you have back-to-back people checking in, checking out. It's important to have your cleaners in conjunction with your laundry. Some people do the laundry on site, which sometimes poses a problem. The last thing that you want to do is have your cleaners waiting for bed sheets to dry.
Absolutely. And do most of your clients have professional cleaners, or do they clean themselves?
No, most of the larger companies that we deal with, we're talking anywhere from 10 to 50 or more listings. They usually have their own professional cleaning team that works for them.
Got it. That makes sense, because it would be a lot of work to do by
100%.
yourself. Awesome. What are some other challenges that your clients come across when it comes to managing multiple listings?
Well, people always ask me, how do I increase my occupancy rate? How can I get more exposure on Airbnb? A couple of tricks on how to increase your occupancy rate. I would suggest trying to open up your calendars in advance. So setting your minimum, maximum nights booked. Try and get the long-term bookings in first. What I mean by long-term, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Once you've got some decent bookings that come through, then you can change your calendar settings to say, okay, I want a minimum of 2 nights, 3 nights, or 4 nights. And that way you can fill in the gaps and you can guarantee a higher occupancy rate.
Right. I used to have a 2 nights minimum stay because I didn't want the hassle of having those 1 day turnarounds.
Sure.
But actually, at some point, I realized, well, it's still a little bit of extra money. It's still an extra booking. It's an extra review. And so I opened it up, and I did get quite a few of one-night stays, actually.
Sure.
They were really good to fill up those little gaps.
You're right. And you have to keep in mind, if you charge your cleaning fee, then you still make money on the cleaning fee as well. So that's another benefit for more turnaround.
Exactly. You're saying is if the cleaning fee is more than what you pay your cleaner.
Exactly.
or if you clean yourself, of course.
Another thing that we suggest is to update your price 3 to 5 times a day to increase your exposure on Airbnb. That's another very useful tip.
Right.
Having professional photos on your listings, that also helps. Unique titles to attract, places that are close to it, like a tourist attraction. An example would be cozy 2-bedroom villa close to Disneyland, to try and increase those exposure as well.
Do you recommend your clients to use any of the pricing apps, the automated pricing apps, so that you don't have to manually update your prices?
Yeah, I mean, those pricing tools are good. They've been, doing a good job for many of our clients. They're great. However, they use external data. So they're looking at special events, holidays, seasonality. Whereas we tell our clients that sometimes, that's great and it may work in your city if there's a lot of data. But if you're in a remote area and there's not a lot of data for those third-party pricing platforms to pull data from, then we would suggest you can do just a good job as increasing your price or decreasing your price 3 to 5 times a day. And that should increase your exposure.
Right. It's just basically a signal to Airbnb that you're updating your listing and that you're an
Correct.
active host. And it's one of the factors that they use in the search
That's
algorithm.
Right, 100%.
Right. So you're saying for those people in remote areas, and that's true, actually, because I get questions sometimes from people that are saying, hey, my area is not covered by Beyond Pricing or Price Labs or Wheelhouse. How do I calculate my prices? It's a tricky part.
It really is.
Do you guys have other suggestions for your clients in remote areas? Because it's a lot of work as well, right? If you have like 20, 30 listings.
Most definitely, it can be a lot of work. However, you have more control. Sometimes all it takes is just changing the price $1 up or $1 down, depending. We look at things like seasonality, special events. If there's a big rock concert happening in your city, you may want to increase the price. If you're closing into a holiday, Christmas, New Year's, that sort of thing, you may want to increase your price as well. But at the end of the day, it's really up at your discretion, and playing with the price more often will get you the bookings you need.
Host, I can't emphasize how important it is to share recommendations of things to do or eat near your listing beforehand. Your guests won't have to go through TripAdvisor, Foursquare or Yelp. They won't have to scratch their head and think about possible places right in the moment. I've been using Hostfully to create an online and printable guidebook to show my guests my favorite coffee places in Amsterdam. They use my recommendations and I'm getting fewer questions from my guests as a result. I've also included screenshots of my guidebook on my Airbnb listing as a way to differentiate my listing from others. So make your own guidebook at hostfully.com/pad. Let's move on to some other topics. What other advice or challenges can you mention?
Other challenges definitely would be being on top. Good management is going to make you more profitable. So you really want to increase your good reviews. That's going to make you a super host. Replying and being responsive on Airbnb. As soon as somebody makes an inquiry, you should respond to them right away. And that should also help increase your ranking on Airbnb as well.
Right. And do you guys provide specific advice to your clients? Because I can imagine like the things that you mentioned are, it's good advice. It's the kind of stuff that I talk about a lot on the podcast and also on the blog. I can imagine for you guys as a company, the success of your clients is also your
100%.
Success, right? If everybody is doing really well on Airbnb, then obviously they're going to keep using your software and you guys are doing well. So do you guys put a lot of effort into sort of educating your clients on how to improve their income and how to do a better job?
Yes, of course. We spend a lot of our time with our clients educating them. There's actually a lot of tips and tricks on our website. We're always free to check. We're always doing different tools to help educate our clients, whether it's a one-on-one session or just, a phone call before we do a product demonstration. It's really to understand what their procedures are and how we can improve upon them.
So for those who are interested in learning a little bit more about how AirGMS works, what would you suggest that that people do? Can they do a demo or is
Yeah,
there like a video
most
they can
definitely.
watch?
You can always go and visit our website. AirGMS is really designed to streamline every part of your Airbnb business, whether it's messaging, booking, scheduling, or task management. AirGMS can automate your processes, which will save you time and money. If you want to learn more about us, I would suggest booking a demonstration. We can have a one-on-one consultation and really take a look at your current setup and how we can improve. And I think that would be the best.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit more about the different features that people could be using if they sign up for AirGMS. Sure. What are the different components of the software?
One of the biggest strong suits that we have is something that we use are called templates. These are pre-written responses that you can create. We can advise you on how to create them. These templates can be used on all of your properties or specific properties. And these are responses to avoid you having to rewrite the same thing over and over to every single guest. To take that a step further, Jasper, we're able to create automatic messages. And this is a huge part of what we do. Automatic messages can be scheduled based on certain events. So, for example, if you have somebody who's checking in and you want to send them your checking instructions, our AirGMS tool can automate that process for you, send in their check-in instructions to avoid you having to spend so much time for every guest.
Also, and do you have shortcodes that you can use in those messages so you don't always have to replace the name of the guest?
Yes, of course. We have mail merge functions. So we would essentially pull specific fields directly from Airbnb, the guest name, the host name, sometimes even the listing name, depending on how you set up those different templates.
Okay, great. That helps
100%,
a lot.
100%. We found that most people spend anywhere from 15 to 20 hours per listing a month, whereas using some of the automation and the tools we have, we can cut that down to anywhere from 1 to 2 hours per listing.
Got it. What are some other features that people can use?
Another huge features that we have is we have the ability to automate your reviews and to do reviews directly from our system. Reviews, I'm sure you know, take a lot of time. We can have specific templates, and those templates then can be automated to post a review either today, tomorrow, or at a specific time in the future.
Mm-hmm. But shouldn't people leave like a personal review instead of just a pre-written one?
Yes, I mean, you should always try and personalize it as much as you can. However, if you're a big company and you have, 50 to 200 listings, that can sometimes pose a huge challenge. Our tool is designed in a way that you can have different templates for your reviews, and then the system can randomly pick different ones and then publish those on your behalf. So that way you're not getting the same review for every single guest.
Right, because that wouldn't look very good on your listing.
Correct.
Are there any other features that people
some
should
of the
be aware
biggest
of?
tools that we have are the cleaning tasks for cleaners. We have the ability to invite your cleaners as a team member. As soon as a booking comes through, this will create what's called a work order in our system. It's a task for your cleaners. Cleaners can then be assigned the task, receive a text message exactly of where they have to go and what they have to do. And this can all be automated as well.
I see you guys have pop-up notifications as well. How's that work? So if I get a message on Airbnb, I'll get a little pop-up on my desktop?
Yeah, so you have a pop-up on your desktop. We've just released both our mobile applications as well. So if you have an Android phone, you can download the app for free. If you have an iOS, you can download the app for free as well. That gives you the ability to get those push notifications for all your properties on the go. And this is also essential for cleaners as well.
Are people able to manage multiple Airbnb listings right from their phone, or would you still need to log into the desktop for certain functions?
You can. You definitely can. Depends on how big of a phone you have. I would find it easier to first set everything up on either a laptop or desktop and then transition to the mobile once you're on the go.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Sure. I mean, if it was
exactly.
If you are away from home, you still have the option to sort of do the most important things.
Responding to guests, checking on bookings, change reservations on the go. If somebody wants to extend their trip or cancel a trip, it can all be done from your handheld phone.
Very sweet. Anything else you want to mention about the features?
If you want to learn more, there's a ton more things. We could spend a lot more time talking about everything, but I would suggest if you want to learn more, contact either myself or schedule a demonstration. We're more than happy to tell you all our expertise.
Very cool. And for those people who are interested in signing up, like what's the way to go?
Any listeners that you have, we can use a promo code that I can give you. It's just simply sign up for a free trial. Just type in the promo code GPFYP30 and you get a $30 credit to your account just for the listeners that are on this podcast today. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to show you how we can utilize our system and increase your revenue.
Awesome. I get a lot of questions recently from people asking, what's the best way to manage multiple listings? It seems like a lot of people are looking to expand into multiple listings, and there are a lot of tools out there. So I'm going to reach out to some of your competitors as well and chat to them and see what they have to offer. I've never had a lot of listings, so I'm not so familiar with this. So it's really cool to talk to you and to get your thoughts and to learn about what softwares like AirGMS can do. It's really interesting. In the future, I'll probably have more Airbnb listings, so I'll probably be using it as well. Imagine you have like 10 or 15 listings. I imagine it's almost undoable to manage that without some sort of tool.
100%. You definitely need to have some tools in place, being efficient, time management, responding to your guests, managing your cleaners. Whether it's 15 or just 5, it's still something that you need to think about in order to grow your business.
Awesome. Well, Kamil, thank you so much for coming on the show, taking the time.
You're most welcome.
It's been really interesting to learn about AirGMS. And for those who are interested in using it, in the show notes on getpaidforyourpad.com, you'll find all the links. You can go to airgms.com. You can watch a video. You can get a free demo. Do you do those demos, Kamil? Do you call people and walk them through the system?
Definitely. If it's not me, it'll be somebody else from our sales team, and we'll be more than happy to take the time to analyze your current setup and see how we can help you.
Very sweet. And so for those who want to take advantage of the special offer, Get Paid for Your Pet, the abbreviation, GPFYP30, you can use the code and you'll get $30 off. And I think there's a 14-day free trial.
There sure is.
Awesome. So they can try it out for 14 days and then, you can make a decision whether it's a good fit for you or not. Awesome. Well, Kamil, thanks for your time. I'm sure we'll be in touch later. And for all the listeners out there, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And of course, we'll be back on Friday where we'll be discussing this week's news. So I hope to see you then.
Get paid for your pet. 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 Get paid for your pet.